Hello, everybody. This is Anna Sinclair, founder and CEO of Total Mom Inc. I am joined today with Suzie. Suzie, I want you to introduce yourself to everyone because I am so excited to have you on here at Total Mom Business Summit. Say hello.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. So, listen, I mean, you are a very incredibly busy woman, and I'm so happy that we were able to track you down and get some time with you. Thank you for being a part of this initiative and just really just inspire the women that are going to be watching. So, tell me a little bit about this career journey of yours. I mean, prior to starting Love Good Fats, because I know we're going to go deep into good fat.
Well, prior to starting Love Good Fats, I graduated out of McGill Engineering in Montreal, and then my first job was right away in marketing at Procter and Gamble. So I had 12 years of like pure marketing, brand building, P&G. Then I followed my boss to PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, and then Heinz was looking for a director as the brand had been declining for 10 years. So I had 12 really classic years, climbed up the ladder to director really quickly. And then I had 10 years as a VP of marketing in two weight loss companies. So I had a pretty cool career. I wanted to shift away from, sugar and snacks to healthier companies. So I went into weight loss, both Weight Watchers and a diet supplement. So that gave me kind of a really good background on how to build brands, launch brands. I launched Tostitos into Canada. I turned around Weight Watchers, turned around Heinz Ketchup. And then I had a pretty good background and I was doing consulting for about 2 years, but I was kind of late 40s. My body was not happy. I'd done 11 Ironmans, but the pace I was running, I was struggling with high blood pressure. I couldn't keep fighting it off. And IBS, my doctor said, well, it's what we eat and whatnot. So for 20 years, it started when I was training. I would just be miserable if I didn't eat the right things. And I had tried everything. So I was doing consulting in the natural space and paying the bills because I was a single mom. I was a single mom for 10 years. But I just, in the back of my mind, I was like, this is just temporary. I want to start my own brand. I want to start my own brand. And I worked, I think, for 9 amazing CEOs, and I was their right hand. And I was like, oh, I can do this. Like,
Yes, yeah.
I'm practicing, like I can do this. Yeah. But I had the perfect excuse, that often holds back entrepreneurs. I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't have the idea. So for 35 years I had those perfect excuses. But now, I was kind of hitting a space where, in a time after reading a book, that I was like, okay, I have an idea. I can make time. My kids are a little bit older, although I didn't see them much for 3 years. So that's a whole other conversation. And I have a little bit of savings.
Did you know you were going to be this like successful
Oh no.
entrepreneur?
No, I mean, so that's a little bit about my background. So I think the background, you hear about entrepreneurs, overnight success story. And I felt old, right? I was 50 when I launched my first brand. Um, However, I had experience for my entire career of building brands.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between when you're building brand in a big company and you have the checkbook and things can go wrong, and you have all these resources and just like literally kitchen table, like, small table downstairs,
Right.
laptop, and your bank account, right? My credit card every month was the charges for the startup. So there's a big difference. But I had the foundation, and I had, thanks to kind of my career background, I had the insight of, I read this book. I knew fats were
Yeah.
coming back. I knew we'd been misinformed. I just saw the trend. I didn't predict keto, so I'm not, that much of a crystal ball. Like that surprised all of us.
I
But
know.
I knew after reading the book that, the science is clear. There was only one piece of research. All the other one was were not really accurate. There was the Harvard meta study that disproved. So I knew, I mean, like the snowball is going to start.
Yeah.
And then I was walking the trade show saying, oh, is there another marketer in North America that's seen that a brand that's anchored on good fats will take off? And I was so nervous. And in both the shows in 16 and 17, there wasn't. So it was just like pitching. And I talked to about 200. I had my little PowerPoint deck,
Yeah.
no fancy graphics, nothing. Now, pitch decks are incredible, but back then, and everyone, of the 200 people or so I met, like all but one said, this is a huge idea. And my last question was always, if you were me, would you launch your life savings, your kids' university funds and stuff? And
Yeah.
pretty much everyone said, whoa, like that's kind of a big deal, but yes, right? Like, so then I kind of knew these are all people I respected a lot in terms of their insight and business kind of experience. So that's kind of how it started.
I honestly I love this story, and I love that you went for it and did it, because if you didn't, we wouldn't have Love Good Fats right now.
Hmm.
Love Good
Yeah,
Fats, such so first of all, delicious. Like so delicious. How did you get it to taste so good and it is so healthy for you? I mean, that is one of the big obstacles in the health and wellness space. I mean, and then who knew that like the word fats would be so good for you, right? I mean,
yeah,
we're for so long we were told that fats were bad.
yep.
And there's this association that it was not a good thing. But I mean, tell us a little bit about like what did you have to do? Like I mean, you did the market research, you were researching. I mean, how did all of that come about? Like, how did you decide the tastes and stuff? Like, tell me all of it.
Well, the story is pretty unbelievable. I had, the brand idea, and you kind of need the. I've done like 60 podcasts now, but it's always you need the three P's. You need the positioning, the
Yeah.
concept, the brand idea, the USP. You need the product to deliver on the promise, and then you need the right price value. And any of these three not being right, if you're too expensive, you're going to crash your P&L. If you're too cheap,
Yeah.
you're not going to have money to. And if your product doesn't deliver on your promise, and if your promise is just so my whole career was helping brands that had so promises improve their positioning, their
Mm-hmm.
and their innovation, to kind of relaunch the brand. So that
Yeah.
was my background. So I did like 5 rounds of research right off the bat to optimize the positioning. At first I was kind of talking about guilt and this and that, and oh no, like just the consumer helped me to optimize the positioning. For 40 years we thought fats were bad. Now we know that sugar was the culprit. Introducing Love Good Fats, ridiculously delicious and also good for you.
Love it.
That's
It's
so
absolutely
yeah.
brilliant.
So you have to refine the positioning. So I kind of did that, and then by the round five, I had basic packaging, and then just kind of it was really I didn't have budgets for huge packaging agencies, even though I had worked with many in the past. So I was able to kind of find just basic a good little team, basic packaging, help draw out the logo, and like all startup stories, the founders is right in there on the packaging.
Mhm.
The first round of packaging wasn't as good. We improved it pretty quickly. We changed the packaging 4 times, so that's the
I've been
theme.
seeing the
Yeah,
progression, and I
yeah,
absolutely love
yeah.
where the
Like
direction it's gone for sure.
fast adapting when you're a startup, it doesn't happen in the large companies, but that's been really key. I have a deck that I could present separately that I've presented to several universities, and it just shows boom, the packaging
Yeah.
changed. We started with 2 SKUs, two more shakes, etc. You can move fast when you're a startup, by miracle. Sometimes in the larger companies you can't, but when you're a startup you can.
Can you tell me when
um,
it started actually popping off? Like, when did you realize, "Oh my god, like,
yeah.
this is happening right now?"
Yeah, the story is insane. I started, we had a lot, like, it was just me, employee of one. I wasn't paid for the first 2 years. Then we had one employee, then a part-time, but it
Mhm.
was really kind of, founder interacting with the advisors and board. There's 8 or 9 key people that would help with advice and a little bit of the funding. And
Yeah.
then there was like 20 other people that I need this for graphic design. I need a 3PL. I need a connection to Amazon, etc. Um, so it really started dining room table, literally just about drove boxes to the Whole Foods. Like we were that tight in timing. The window was the end of the last week in August of 2017, and we literally got the samples to UNFI, the distributor, and then they hurried up to got them to the 6 Whole Foods in Ontario.
Gosh.
And boom, that first weekend we had demos. So I was standing in both the Lee side and the downtown Whole Foods doing demos with my partner that we met. We started dating, and the first 6 months of dating, or 1 year, was all doing demos and shows together. So
Wow.
we started just literally September 1st, 2017. 6 weeks into it, so I had two little SKUs. 6 weeks into it, I was getting more and more phone calls about how they were selling. And one of the Whole Foods, the large one downtown, I kind of walked over and he said, "Oh, you're the founder. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy you're here. Come over. Your bars are selling so well. They're my number one and two best selling bars by 50%." So then I asked who was the previous best selling, etc. That I was shaking. I sat down and I was like, "Oh my God," I'm texting the board, like the little team, before I'm driving back. And then we raised another 200,000 and we launched two more SKUs right away. That made that decision like at that hour, saying we're spending, basically $200,000 more to launch two more SKUs, which is kind of pretty, when you only have a little bit of money in the bank, that was a pretty bold decision.
Yeah.
But then we had four SKUs in January. And then it was like every single store that was carrying us was selling us. So the first 4 months, we were 40,000 a month. And then we hit January. Then we climbed to 1 million a month within 8 months. So
Wow.
we started, year zero, 2017. We ended the year at 160. Year one, 8.2 million. Year two, 47 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Congratulations on all of that
yeah.
success. Honestly, that is every person's dream when they put out their product, especially competing on the shelves, seeing how it's going to go to market, seeing how consumers are going to react. I mean, like, I'm so happy for you, honestly. This is such a fantastic accomplishment, and also just the story of like how much you had to oversee and run this. You really are the face of the brand. You really are the mastermind behind all of it. I mean, yes, you've got a lot of people behind the scenes, but it takes a really powerful, strategic businesswoman like yourself to say, I've got all the elements here. Like, I know exactly how this is going to go. So that's great. So, for the people that are listening that are looking to put out like a granola bar or a new sports drink or an
Yep.
electrolytes thing or a gummy or something like
Yep.
that, when they're starting out, and you and I both know, and from this conversation, all of those decisions before you take it to like a Whole Foods or a Metro or wherever, there's a lot that needs to happen
Yep.
before you take that to them and say, "Hey, give me the feedback and everything." Do you recommend that somebody either takes a loan or finds some sort of money to hire the individual that does the whole, let me get the, what the product's going to look like, let's get the messaging, whatever, like, or what do you recommend?
Well, the in all the podcasts and the coaching I'm doing now, and I have founders helping founders, and I'm doing more and more little seminars. I say the way to think about it is you get your three Ps before launch. And then after it's on the shelf or on Amazon or on Shopify, you're basically spending money to drive people to the three Ps that you did before launch. So the more, I don't recommend doing all the way as big CPG where it can take 1 or 2 years and hundreds of thousands of spending. But the more time you spend up front optimizing your positioning, making sure your product is the best and that it delivers, and then making sure you have the right price metrics, the more time you spend doing that, the more that, let's say you do spend 20,000 a month advertising on to bring people to your website, to bring people to Amazon, to bring people to the stores,
Yeah.
the ROI of that spend, whether this is a 5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 idea,
Hmm.
the ROI is going to be directly proportional. You're still spending the same 20, but if you have a 10 out of 10 idea, that 20,000 might bring 100,000 in sales. If you have a 5 out of 10 idea, that 20,000 might bring 5. So it's a fine line. It's really challenging. There's a lot of like agencies that will help. You need, as a marketer, you can't be a fantastic marketer without a creative agency, a packaging agency, a PR agency, a digital agency. The list goes on, a media
A
agency. The
lot.
list goes on and on. but it's a fine line. I would say most of the founders, we now have 150 founders in our Founders Helping Founders group, and most of them, the founders have that gut. They kind of have an insight, and they're able to tweak it because it starts with the unmet need. So if you stay true to what is the problem you're solving, like you have something that you need to get out there. Like in my case, I needed a good fat snack. Every founder I've met, their idea, it comes out of what do they need to get into the market.
Right.
So if you start and that need is wide enough of a need, then of course you should get help on your positioning and your packaging a little bit. But I would just be careful. Like, the insight is yours, the insight drives the benefit drives the product. So you can get help from a marketer like myself. And if I had more time, I would literally just be writing concepts and helping startups like all day long. Like, I would just
I,
love
I,
to do
I
that.
would love to see you program an
Yep.
actual program from like start to bottom where people
Yeah.
can watch the videos,
Yep.
go through with you, where you like meet them once a month or something,
Yep.
just hear their success stories or something. But like
Yep.
your brain, what's in your brain is
Yeah.
gold
Because
nugget.
it's a
And
process. It's a process. So if I could, like, just right now, I have a few too many things on the go. I think I'm gonna do some video series. And you're right. I should take a brand instead of just the theory. I'll ask one of the founders who wants help, and it's a process, because when you start the process, you know that if you're true to the process of optimizing, getting feedback, optimizing, then you'll get to something stronger. Every time I follow the process, I mean, on one
yeah,
brand as a VP, we went from a 2 share to a 10 share. It took 3 rounds of consumer research, and we had a deadline because it was, a seasonality product. So there is a
okay,
process. Um, so I think, I have some founders that have hired great branding agencies, and it's changed the game for them. Um, so I think it's a combination. I don't think any founder should just kind of say here to somebody else, because it comes down here. You
yeah.
have to stay close to the strategies, but definitely get help on the creative side and on the positioning side.
That's fantastic. And okay, so when you're making those relationships and you're networking and you're building out and you're coming out as a founder, you're coming out as like the person that the ecosystem is essentially starting to get introduced to. What tips do you have for some of these founders that are listening in terms of building strong relationships, or where should they be getting out in front of, and how should they be positioning themselves as a CEO or as a founder or whatnot?
Yeah, well, the special sauce for a founder is authenticity. And I've heard again and again how authentic I am, and I just myself, right? I was in big companies for 20 years. I kind of was a bit of a buck the system, an entrepreneur. But the special sauce is your authenticity. So I think, as a founder, you kind of have to balance a few things. Your authenticity must shine. LinkedIn now is full of all of the founders are in shows and at events and at demos and driving around, meeting the retailers. You have to do that, and most of the retailers adore meeting the founders. I had a buyer once said, I only want to have meetings with the founders, that are the founders that are still running the business, obviously. So
Yeah,
that's really, really important. But you also have, you're bringing a business proposition to the retailer.
right.
So you kind of have to also ensure that you're going to follow through on your word, you're going to ship on time, your product's going to deliver. you know these retailers are taking a chance on you.
Mhm.
So you kind of have to be authentic, be out there, be the voice, because you're the passion for this is a real problem. I have the solution. But you can't let your retailers down. And the larger retailers are less and less flexible. The smaller retailers in natural are a gift to us founders. Without them, we wouldn't be able to launch. We would just be large package goods that takes a year and has thousands of employees. The small retailers are a gift because they'll work with you, right? Your packaging's not quite there. Oops, there's consumer feedback. They'll support you if it's not perfect. Oh, you're a bit late. The larger retailers that you also want to go to as you grow, you have to fulfill your commitments. So you need a bit of both. Energy and founder passion alone is not enough for the business proposition that the retailers are counting on you for.
I love that. And speaking of the brand positioning, even how, like, if you can give us like a micro, like what's the main thing that they can walk away from this fireside chat and just finesse and rework?
Yeah.
What's one activity
Okay.
that they can do right now to be like to get clear again on that brand positioning?
Okay, so Anna, I'm gonna. I think I'm. If you have a little bit more time after this 2 weeks, I'll do just a video session that we can all repost just on that.
Nice.
But
Of
the
course.
way to think about it, there's kind of three elements to your brand positioning that are really key. What's the insight? What's the compelling consumer insight? What's the unmet need? What's the problem? Number one, write it down. Write down a sentence. The problem is I can never find some healthy snacks, and I'm trying to cut out fat because I think fat is bad. Oh, that's the problem you're trying to solve. Number two is your brand benefit. Your brand benefit is the single most important sentence you will ever write for your company, period. It's more important than vision and mission and everything else. My brand, so brand X, is the brand that. Complete that sentence. That's your brand positioning. That's your USP, your equity, whatever word we want to call it. That's the brand that um, for Love Good Fats is a dual benefit, ridiculously delicious and good for you. Now that's the strategic, boring brand benefit, but it's the articulation. Pantene is healthier, shinier hair. Benefit.
Script of words of what they're gonna feel they're gonna get from the
What's the benefit? Remember, the consumer we're selfish. The consumer, what's in it for me with it? So the benefit, the articulation of the brand benefit is super important because you should be able to say that. Someone you see in the elevator, oh, that's a cool brand name. What's the brand about? My brand is the brand that. Boom. And then it's a benefit statement. So that is really important because if you can't say it in one short sentence, then you're kind of like, everyone can say, what is the benefit of Nike? What's the benefit of Apple? Like, what's the benefit of Tesla, right? Those big PepsiCo, those big iconic brands, they're iconic because they've articulated benefit that's unique, better or different. So P&G was all about better. How can you get your brand to be better and say you're better? We clean better, we keep the baby's bums drier, we taste better, the coffee's fresher, etc., etc. Better or different? My brand is the brand that, brand benefit. Ideally, you're better or you're different, so unique and different, or you're cheaper. But none of us founders wants to launch a cheaper brand. So you really have two options. If you're not better or different, you're in no woman's land, no man's land for your
interesting.
brand.
Mm,
So you just kind of, you write down that sentence, and the next sentence you write down on a sheet of paper and you put it, by your bed, by your desk, in your wallet, on your iPhone, wherever you carry important stuff. The third sentence is why. That's because my brand X, reason one, reason two, reason three. If you write out those, call it 6 sentences:
this is good.
problem, benefit, USP, benefit, and three reasons why the consumer should believe the promise you're making, that is laminated. At Love Good Fats, we had orientation binder. You got to the brand positioning page, and it's laminated in every single binder. Don't touch the brand positioning. And then our job is to make sure that every agency, every communication material, every touch point, every deck, every packaging, every innovation, the culture of the company is all on the same foundation of your brand benefit. It's all connected. And that's why you kind of hear, the larger companies, the Googles of the world, like the internal culture of the company is usually in sync with the positioning of the brand. So yeah, so write those 6 sentences in 3 buckets. I'll do a little session on it. We'll do Yeah, we'll do case studies together.
Is ours really bad? So, because we take moms from overwhelmed to supported both personally and professionally.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. So then you're missing what's the setup problem. So there are so many founders out there, and they don't have the resources or the confidence or the tools to start. Introducing Total Mom, the brand that takes moms from da da da. Why? That's because we offer service number one, service number two, service number three.
And I love this. You're bringing us really good practical tips. Now,
Yep.
what's next for you? I mean, you've hit a lot of success, but I want to know like what's around the corner. I mean, I know you're busy and everything, but it seems like you're on that roll. So what's around the
Okay.
corner?
Well, timing is really good that we're doing this interview now. I stepped away from the day to day of CEO of Love Good Fats in the fall, so we have a new CEO that's going to drive us to onward, upward and onward growth, and that's given me time to look at a bunch of options. So I started the Founders Helping Founders group to just get a few of us chatting, and I'm doing a few other things on the side to help a few brands. But really, I want to start another brand. So I've
What?
been spent. Yeah, now I'm 55, so it's a little bit crazy when you think about it. But I have a really, really good idea. I think the positioning, the product, and the price value are going to be bang on, and we're going to meet an unmet need. So I'm going to kind of spend some time figuring out if I can bring that to life in the fall. So stay tuned.
Bring it to life, not if you are going to do it.
Yeah.
It sounds super exciting, and I know you can't give us too many details right now, but you know we are going to be like on the pulse of it, ready to push this baby out, and not baby number 3, but your
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we'll see. It's hard. There's many founders that have that have like really successful brands, but it's hard to do your second and your third. But you never know. The stars might align, and if so, I'll be sure Total Mom will be the first to know. So let's stay close.
That sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time. Honestly, this was so great, and you definitely dropped some really good golden nuggets. And congrats on all your
Perfect.
success again.
And let's follow up. We'll do like if Total Mom wants like some case studies and we want to do a little session, like I have it'd be my pleasure to do a couple of free workshops and just kind of download it and watch it. And if that helps more founders, fantastic.
Well, we're launching the Total Mom Business Membership coming this fall, and it'll be featuring experts like
Oh,
yourself.
perfect.
We're
Yeah,
going to go through programs and master classes and webinars. So we would love to have
perfect.
you on board.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well, let's chat about the marketing masterclass because that's
sounds good.
that's my sweet spot. I'd love to help out as much as I can.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you very much.